Hey everybody, Crazy Marty here, and today we have to warn you that by watching this video, you will be starting World War III. So let's get into this right now, and I'll let the crazy naked camp wanderer explain what's going on. Living in aluminum. I don't know, tell me how the war is supposed to start.
Okay, there are many theories whether it comes to a war and whether a war is necessary. The most capable air force in the world, according to my professional opinion, are clearly the Russians. They outrun the US Air Force by far. So this is basically the setup. How the war will come down, at least to my opinion, the first thing they do is Xi Jinping and President Putin declare war to the United States and NATO using the following words: we hereby declare war to USA and NATO because you pissed us off too many times. They declare war at 5 a.m. Mountain Time, or whatever this is here where I'm living at. Then 5 minutes later the satellites come down. It will look like when the Space Shuttle Challenger exploded, basically debris everywhere, like huge fireworks, but almost nobody sees it because it's 5 a.m. in the morning. So 30 minutes later, the satellites probably are all gone. By that time, Russian fighters, about 5,000 Su-27s, come over the North Pole, overflying Canada, camouflaged as airliners. They descend into the valleys precisely 30 minutes prior sunrise. Then they come with 540 knots in 30 feet of altitude over the water. 10 minutes later, they take out Libby Dam and all the other dams. Bottom line is, the entire northwest of the US will be flooded within an hour. And then simultaneously, in China, about 50,000 J-10s, which is a copy of the Su-27, will take off. Takes them 8 hours without refueling to overfly the Pacific. Then they bomb California. They have to land within 10 minutes, and the only way how they can do that, what I figured is, they have to land on Los Angeles International Airport, San Francisco International Airport, Seattle, and whatever they find, even interstates. Because if you have to land 50,000 fighters in 10 minutes, this is a hell of a job. Once they land in Los Angeles International Airport, where I landed many times as a civilian airline captain, they will use your own fuel, the kerosene, gas up their fighters, put on some new Chinese bombs, and then put in some new Chinese pilots, and then they bomb the rest of the US. So, in my professional opinion, within 24 hours, your entire armed forces are flat on the ground. So after day one, you lost air superiority to China. On day two, the Russian Bear, which is like a B-52 and the Chinese version of it, they do carpet bombing. They will start with the big cities like Los Angeles, Miami, Dallas, New York, because they have to produce 300 million dead Americans. And it's not going to help if you bomb Eureka. You have to start with the mega cities and work your way down. And that's exactly what they do for 2 weeks at least. After 2 weeks, 200 million Chinese ground soldiers come in. They are badly trained. Probably most of them are farmers, uneducated. They are sent here because they are supposed to win against the enemy for a long time. This is what they are told. They are trained in the desert of Gobi to fight under hot temperatures. This is why the Chinese manipulated the weather and basically melted the snow on the mountain tops to fill all the dams. Libby Dam was empty 4 weeks ago. Now it's filled to the top, and they do that since many years, just to see whether it works. The first attempt of World War III was on July 4th of the United States, because the United States are the strongest NATO partner. So everything is based on beating the United States first. So 4th of July is a perfect opportunity because all Air Force pilots are at home celebrating 4th of July. The satellites which will come down looks like fireworks, and Mountain Home Air Force Base, when they blow up, that looks like a big firework too. So this is how they wanted to hide it on 4th of July. So I basically put up a document, 6 pages, Word document, which clearly outlines what I'm about to tell you. And I kind of figured as soon as I sent this document to various generals around the world, I'm priority target number 1 for everybody, because I basically published the plan of attack 3 to 5 days prior. None of the generals responded. None of my friends responded. The dams are still full of water to the top. I tried my best. And they will die. You all will die. And the result was that the war, who was supposed to start on July 4th, was postponed by Mr. Ross Perot Jr. I cannot prove it 100%, but this is the only way which makes sense. He's the leader of a group of 7 people who own the world. The 7 people don't like each other, but they hide behind a company which is called BlackRock, and BlackRock is the biggest financial company in the world. They own basically everything. So 5 of the 7 split up the world in 5 continents because they don't want to interfere with the other one's business. So the one who owns North America is Mr. Ross Perot Jr. living in Dallas. The one who wants to own Europe is Vladimir Putin. The one who owns Asia is Xi Jinping, the Chinese president. The one who runs the Muslim countries is the Sheikh of Abu Dhabi, because I know for sure he is a business partner of Ross Perot for many years. And the one who owns South America is a guy, he owns all the radio and TV stations in South America. He's unbelievably rich. I don't recall his name, but that's not important. So these are the 5 continents. And there are 2 guys who didn't want to have a continent. They simply wanted to have the world banking system. The 2 guys from New York are 2 Jews. Their name is Rothschild, in German Rothschild. They are in business for decades. And they have a weekly dinner with Mr. Jared Kushner, who is the son-in-law from President Trump. And these 7 own the world. And the reason why I found out that Ross Perot has to be the leader of the group, because he's the only one who doesn't want to be known in public. He has a reputation to defend, and this is what he learned from his father. As soon as his father was running for presidency, the shit hit the fan, because the journalists were digging into everything, and he doesn't want to have that. So at the end of the day, Ross was able to call off World War III. Actually, the correct word is not to call off, but to postpone. And I'm very sure we are very close to executing the war in the next couple of days. My own theory, and I clearly want to stress this, it is my theory. It all happened in my head. And if I want to know how they do it, I simply ask myself, how would I do it? As I said, first of all, I kind of have to say that I risk my life with this bullshit. I have all the murder attempts. I can prove 2 or 5, probably more. That's why they stopped.
They who?
Basically, it was Ross Perot and others. And I was.
Why would he try to kill you?
Because I clearly can link him to the upcoming war, which is one thing. And the second thing is that his best colleague, basically, which is Mr. Matt Byrd, is a former US Air Force pilot. He did basic training, fighter pilot training in Shepherd, Egypt, class 8607 with me. And he clearly told me in the pool of Abu Dhabi how they made Bill Clinton president. And I openly talk about it. What Matt Byrd told me in the pool, that Ross Perot and his team noticed that, according to the polls during the race, they had 17%, if I recall correctly. Bill Clinton had 17% predicted, and George Bush Sr. had 24%, so he clearly would have made the race. And since Ross Perot is a smart man, he called up Bill Clinton for a coffee, which is illegal in the first place, because candidates shouldn't negotiate behind the scene. So finally they met, and Ross Perot literally said, I don't have time to run this fucking country. I have a multi-billion company to run. Would you be willing to do the job? And that's what he asked Bill Clinton. And Clinton kind of was surprised, sure as hell he was. And then Ross Perot said, I know a way how to make you president, but you owe me. And the way it worked is, Ross Perot's research team found out that if he drops out of the race for no reason, his 17% would mainly go to Bill Clinton, so he would end up with more percent than George Bush Sr. And this is precisely how he did it. At that time I was living in the US, in Texas. We were monitoring the presidential race kind of closely. And when Ross Perot Sr. resigned for personal reasons with no further comment, we were disappointed and we had no clue what's going on. And 20 years later, in the pool of Abu Dhabi of Matt Bird's house, he told me how it worked. And this honestly came as a shock to me. And one thing is for sure, Trump and whoever is in office right now, they are all basically employees of Ross Perot Jr. Because Bill Clinton became president due to the help of Ross Perot. Obama clearly became president since Bill Clinton supported him. So Obama owed Bill Clinton owed Ross Perot. And this is how it keeps going. Trump is a criminal too, who can do business with mafia in Atlantic City for 5 years, has to be a mafioso, otherwise he will not survive. And about Biden, I don't even want to talk. How he got into office, I have no fucking clue. Sorry. A friend of mine in Del Rio, Texas said when he became president, 50% of the time Joe Biden doesn't even know in which room he is in. And this is probably true.
Alrighty, folks, there you have it, straight from the horse's mouth. Make sure you give a thumbs up, a subscribe, and also leave a comment, because if you leave comments, that pushes the video up a little higher in the rankings, I guess. I don't know what else to tell you, except if you watch to the end of this video, then you are the one that started World War III. So if you see hordes of Chinese and Russians coming in, just give them a finger bang and watch them melt. I'm Crazy Marty. Bye-bye.
And I'll be sure and send you a postcard from freedom sometime.